Welcome to Crime 411. You are looking at a picture of Alex Presley, a young soldier who was gunned down in his own driveway on November 16th in Nashville, Tennessee. Police have very few leads in this case. Alex leaves behind a fiancée and a 3-year-old little boy named Maddox. I interviewed his fiancée on Zoom earlier tonight. Let's take a look. Like I told you online, I'm so sorry. I can't even imagine what you're going through. This is so fresh too.
It's crazy. I Not something I would expect to be doing at 27.
No, not at all. I mean, you had, like you said when we talked, there was nothing. He had no problems with anybody. He wasn't involved in anything shady. There was nothing really. So
No.
people, they'll read the story and they say it seems like it's a targeted hit because of the way it happened. But when you know more about Alex and his life, like you shared with me, it doesn't make sense for that to be the case.
Not at all. And I mean, I can see where other people are coming from, but they don't know behind the story.
Yeah, they don't know him. They don't know you at all.
Exactly.
So this happened. What day did this happen? It was on November 20th,
The 16th.
the 16th. And tell me what happened like that as far as you remember it.
Well, I mean, he was just going to go hang out with a friend, and our son Maddox was going to sleep with my parents because we live with my parents, and he just got to sleep. I was sitting in my bed and I hear one shot. That was it, which isn't, I mean, we hear that all the time. I mean, not that close, but it's not rare for us to not to hear that. And well, I was calling him and messaged the friend he was going to. He wasn't there yet. I gave him enough time to get to where he was going, still wasn't. So I left and I went around the opposite way he was. And then I saw ambulances and fire trucks coming up my street, and it led me straight to where it was.
Did in your gut feeling, did you have a feeling when you saw that was your fiance?
I
People,
knew right then.
yeah. And he was shot in your driveway, right? But he
Yes.
left. And people are wondering why he left. Do you think that was because he didn't want you and your son to see him that way, or do you feel that there was another reason why he left when he was shot?
That's what I believe. I
Yeah.
think he drove away so we wouldn't find him. Or, I mean, honestly, we weren't out there. He could have been out of the driveway and they could have just shot from my driveway. I mean, I have no clue. I wasn't outside. Nobody was outside. So we don't know exactly what happened. But the driving away just seems like he didn't want me to find him that way.
Wow. Even in that moment, he was still thinking of you, which says a lot about
I
the kind of person that he was.
I do agree.
Right. Tell me about him. I know you said he was into skateboarding. He was obviously a great father. Tell me about him.
He worked for IT and he's been doing that for years. Did that with the army. Um, he only got out of the army because he didn't want to be away from Maddox for the first few years he was born. He was wanting to go back into the army. He was really thinking about it. He likes writing music. He loves guitars. He would just sit in the living room and just write songs all night. And he was just he was a jokester. He was hilarious. He was always trying to do something or make somebody laugh. I mean,
Yeah.
he was just a really good guy.
I can tell by the pictures you sent over because you sent a bunch, right? And
Yes.
he's just, you could tell he just adored Maddox and you both, cuddling
Oh
with
yeah.
him. And the pictures that you sent were really, they touched my heart deeply. What about your son? He doesn't understand. He's too young, right?
He doesn't understand. At first I told him that his daddy was took, and he was upset when I first told him, and then he just didn't understand. And then, well, it got around and he heard that he was shot, and I sat down and explained to him, and he didn't really do or say anything. I mean, he
Yeah.
just acted normal about it. He
He
didn't
doesn't
think he was too
understand.
young.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know the detective hasn't called you back, which, by the way, if you're watching, come on. It's the holidays. This lady just lost her fiance, and the son that she has lost his father. Could you at least pick up the phone and give them a call? I mean, come on. Um, Sorry, I had to get that in there because that drives me crazy. This is not a job you should be in if you don't have empathy for the people that you're working for. And they are working for you, not the other way around. This is their job. This is what they're paid to do. And you are their client. So to pick up the phone
Mhm.
and to just give them a little bit of an idea of what's going on, or let them know that you didn't forget about them and the person that they love that they just lost, is not too much to ask. Um, but that being said,
I
and
mean,
get
I
off my
understand there's an
soapbox,
investigation.
however, it's a phone call to say, we're working on it. We didn't forget you, right? This Alex is not a number. He
Exactly.
is a person, and he is a father, and he was a fiance and a son. And there are a lot of
Yes.
people who loved him and still love him. So picking up the phone is not too much to ask.
Mm-mm.
Now, based on what little we do know that they did put out there to the public, I read that there was an eyewitness that was not named, and they said that somebody got out of a black sedan, that they blocked. Did they block him in the driveway according to what the witness saw? What happened?
I'm not exactly sure if he was blocked because that's what I was thinking. I just know he pulled up behind him. I don't know exactly if he was blocking the driveway or where he was. Because, I mean, she didn't say, she just said they pulled up behind. She saw something but didn't know exactly what she saw. Yes.
Okay. And I think I asked you if they checked to see if she had doorbell cam footage, and there was nothing that showed up because of the way that it was angled or something like that.
Yes. She usually has it angled towards this way, and it would have caught something, but it was moved, and she didn't know that, or it would have picked it up.
Wow. Do you know if they checked other people in the neighborhood to see if they had any footage? Because whoever that was had to get to your house some way. They had to take some route to get there. So did they check any of that, or do you not know?
I don't think they checked anything. I just think they checked that one person, and that was it. But I recently was told, this was actually just yesterday, that there was a lady walking down the street. She walks her dog, and she saw it was a navy blue Malibu. And I have a park right up the street, and they backed into the park, and then they backed out onto the side. And while she walked past him, nothing. And then I guess he was sitting in the driveway, and I guess she was around the corner, and she heard the shot.
Wow.
So we
So
were
they're talking
thinking,
about she saw this at the park the same day that your fiance was shot. That was on the same
yes,
day.
I just found this out.
Wow.
Yes. And I just found this out yesterday, and I've tried to tell the detective, and they haven't responded to me about it at all.
See, now that's the thing that drives me crazy more than anything. Again, back to the same thing, and I know I go on a soapbox about it, but this Alex Presley is not a number. He is not a case number. He's a human being with a fiance, with a 3-year-old little boy who, to that little boy, that's his superhero, his daddy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have
Oh,
new
yeah.
information that might be pertinent to an arrest or finding some sort of justice for the loss of your fiance, and you can't even get a phone call back. That has to be more frustrating to you than anything else.
It it is. I just want some kind of update, some kind of, you know, that they are working on my case. I just want to know something.
Is there only one detective that you know, like, of personally, that you have their information that's working on the case, or do you know if there's more than one?
I think there was two, but I only have the information for one.
Okay. Well, one of the things that I'm going to ask our viewers to do is there's a group online, Justice for Alex Presley. You can hashtag and find that. And I'm going to ask people to join this group because there is power in numbers. And a lot of times discussions will come up in these groups. I've been involved in a lot of these different groups, since I started doing Crime 411. And a lot of the time what comes to the light, believe it or not, actually happens in these groups. And people will talk on there about things that, they don't even realize what they saw until after the fact, kind of like what you said earlier, right? And then people have discussions and more information starts coming to the forefront. So even if you think you don't know anything about it, but you're from that area, I'm going to ask you to please join the group. And also, the more people that are in the group, the more attention it will get hopefully from mainstream media, and not just, a channel like Crime 411, but a larger outlet that might be able to get Alex's story out there even more so. So that's really important. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about too, there was a person who commented and said, "Where's the reward money?" And that really irked me because, first of all, and you probably saw my reply to that because I was not happy. Just because someone doesn't have reward money doesn't mean that they don't deserve justice for their loved one, the same way that somebody who presents a $100,000 reward deserves justice for their loved one. And not everybody has that kind of money laying around. So at this time, I know you put together a GoFundMe, right? To hopefully get some reward money. Is that on the Justice for Alex Presley page?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So again, even if you join the group, if you participate in the conversations, great. If you can donate anything at all to the GoFundMe so that we can start to put together a reward, that would be amazing. And for any companies or businesses that are local, this was in Nashville, Tennessee, right?
Yes.
So any companies in Nashville, Tennessee, if you are local and you want to contribute to this reward fund to help this lovely young lady and her son find justice and seek justice, that would be amazing. And you can do that directly through the GoFundMe, or you can contact her personally on her Facebook page. She is obviously an admin in the group, right?
Yes.
Okay. So other than this, like you said, we know very little. Is there anything else that you do know that we haven't gone over? I know there's not much out there.
Nothing else has been said. I'm out of the loop on everything.
And he had no problems with anybody, you said, right? Seems like more than anything, he was at work and he was at home with you, like out with you and your son. It just seemed like obviously a very family-oriented person who wasn't out in the streets and the bars and in the clubs. He wasn't that kind of guy. He was at home with you.
Yes. We went out a little bit, but not a whole bunch.
And you went out together.
Yes.
It wasn't like he was in the bar until 3 a.m. rolling in. He was a good man, a good family man who was at home with you. So this just doesn't make any sense.
And it doesn't. I mean, he didn't owe money to anybody. There was no troubles with nobody. I really don't know where. No.
I know you mentioned that you feel like this could have been some sort of a gang initiation thing. Is that something that's common in the area where you live?
Yeah.
Really?
Kind of is.
Wow. Well, I hope that you find answers soon. Again, please join the Facebook group, #Justice for Alex Presley, and share it with your friends, especially if you're local in this area. You never know who saw, something, but somebody knows something, right? Because somebody did shoot him. So there is someone out there who knows something. We don't know who that person is, but there is someone, and there is someone who has information that will help Peyton seek justice for the loss of her fiance and for the loss of their son's father. Well, thank you again so much. Again, my heart goes out to you. If you have any tips regarding the case of Alex Presley, please contact Crime Stoppers at 615-862-7400. Again, that number is on the screen. It's 615-862-7400. Thank you again for tuning into Crime 411. I'm Melissa Marquet, and we'll see you soon.